It is good to come together for the purpose of co-creating. Do you agree? Yes. And for the purpose of having fun? Yes. And for the purpose of taking thought beyond what it has been before? Yes. And for the purpose of remembering who you are? For the purpose of being in an environment that is especially conducive to you coming into full alignment with who you are, so that as you are focused here through your magnificent physical body, you are less resistant and therefore more allowing of the whole of who you are to be present. That's focus at its best. You are a creator, do you know that? And a creator is a focuser of energy. So the more deliberate you are about your focusing, then the more control you have over what you create. But when we talk about focusing, we are this, but we are not only talking about you choosing things to focus on that you would like to draw into your experience. We do mean that, but not only that. When we speak of you focusing, what we mean mostly, is you being so aware of how you feel that by paying attention to your emotions, your emotional guidance system, that you're able to focus yourself into your fullness before you focus. You are source energy. And before you came into this body, you were source energy. And even though you're in this body, you still are source energy. But as humans, so often you get so fixated on the trappings of your physical world, and that's just fine. We love it too. But when you forget who you really are, and you don't work to find that resonance with who you really are, and you become merely an observer of what's going on your planet, where some things you look at please you and some things you look at don't please you, but you, by your thinking that you're supposed to just look everywhere and then work it out after that, rather than deciding how you want to feel and therefore that's where you look. You hear the difference? That's what we call getting out ahead of things. Tuning into the wholeness of who you are, and then exploring your physical environment. Well, when you are in tune with who you are, then nothing that is unwanted is in the vibration. And when nothing that is not wanted, in other words, as long as it's not active within your vibration, then it cannot perpetuate in your experience. Don't usually turn your attention to the solution that you've asked for. Instead, you justify why you want that solution, as you were yelling out to us, rather than relaxing in the knowing that the solution is underway and momentum for that solution is a sure thing. When you ask, it is given. The question is, are you going to be in the vibrational vicinity where what has been given to you, about you, on your behalf, for you? Are you in a position where you can be the receiver of what you've asked for that has been given? Or are you still in the frequency of asking rather than in the frequency of receiving? Can you feel the difference? We want you to know that you can create anything that you desire. We want you to know that nothing is off limits. That universal forces, the energy that creates worlds, is flowing at your command. But you often do not line up with your own command. You ask for it, but you hold yourself differently than what you have asked for. It is not a difficult thing conceptually to get it that you create your own reality. It's not hard to understand that you are an extension of source energy. And it isn't difficult to come to know in a relatively short amount of sentences or stories or examples that as you tune yourself and allow the frequency of who you are to rise to the vibrational equivalent of the non-physical you, that then there is a blending of you and you. And you witness that kind of blending in yourselves and in others all the time. You see it often in the athletes who are in the zone. You see it in the accomplished musicians or painters. You see it in yourself in flashes here and there. It isn't only that we think it's a good idea to not look at the past. It's that in not looking, you'll be less likely to not be the past, because you vibrate where you look. So if you're focused into the past, while there are things, it doesn't matter if you're looking past, present, or future, you can find resonance with who you really are. Daydreaming is a great place to look, because you haven't filled your daydreams in with so many regrets and so forth. So it's just a clearer vibrational path, and you're more likely to meet your inner being on that path than when you look back before you knew you even had an inner being. It's always easier to give your attention to someone else and be clearer in your energy than when you are focused upon yourself, where you've practiced so many thoughts of something other than clarity. Just play with it. Don't worry about it. It gets easier and easier and easier. In no time at all, you begin to feel invincible. Before you know it, it won't make any difference what you're focused upon. You will be able to feel the direction that is to your greatest advantage to look. If you were to walk into a library or a bookstore with all of those books about all of those subjects, the intensity of just the volume of information could be overwhelming to you unless you know why you went in and what it is you're looking for. And so in this vibrational arena where every thought that's ever been thought still exists, and every belief that anyone holds still exists, and beliefs that you have held before still have some vibrational liveliness within them, it takes focus in order to focus yourself in the direction that is most satisfying. And as many books as we write and as many conversations as we have, the thing that humans have the most difficulty hearing and believing and gravitating toward is that it's good to feel good. If you will let the criteria be how you feel, you'll always go to a clear space. But if you have any other reason than that it will feel good, then you might find a thought that's interesting while it doesn't feel good, or a thought that's a big thought while it doesn't feel good, or a thought that's most advertised on television while it doesn't feel good. There are all kinds of reasons for thoughts to be bigger. So how are you going to set your priorities? How are you going to decide what direction your thoughts are going to go? And the easy way is just to care about how you feel and start noticing what thoughts feel the best, like the puppy or your beloved, and on and on and on, and gravitating in that way. But it requires a little basis of understanding first, like you're not here to prove worthiness. Well, to many that just sounds like so many words, because you're still proving worthiness. You didn't come to give up your influence of source to find the influence of other people. Well, that's just so many words to so many people, because you have really been trying to get the approval of others around you for a very long time, and you just can't all of a sudden say you don't care what others think when you've cared what others think for a very long time. So we're not asking you not to care what others think. We're just asking you to care more about how you feel, which means we're asking you to care more about what your inner being thinks, and not about everything in the world. You couldn't even contemplate that. We're just asking you to care more about what your inner being thinks about what you're thinking about right now than anything else. That's all. That's all you need to care about, is what does my inner being think about what I'm thinking about right now? And your emotions will tell you whether you're on the right track of what your inner being is thinking or whether you're not. It's so simple. You see, when you live in the moment.
Hello,